In that Christmas Eve, before any light could warm the icy silence of the streets, the phrase that would change everything echoed like a desperate plea torn from the depths of the soul. "Sir, my little sister is freezing." The girl in the blue hat held the baby wrapped in the yellow blanket so tightly that her hands trembled, not only from the biting cold, but from the real fear of losing her there, before the eyes of a stranger. The snow fell heavily, clinging to the girl's red coat, which seemed too small to carry so much despair, but big enough to fight for the one she loved. When the billionaire in the blue suit stopped beside the snow-covered bench, he didn't imagine that that plea would pierce his defenses like a sharp blade, awakening a past he had been trying to bury for years. The wind blew stronger, the baby's weak cry almost lost in the air, and for a moment it seemed the whole world held its breath, waiting for his answer. And it was there, kneeling in the snow, his eyes locked on the girl's, that his life began to change forever. Before we delve into this amazing story, tell me which city and state you're watching from. Leave a comment and I'll reply with gratitude. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and like this video. We want to share more stories like this. The snow there, Christmas Eve, the rain fell with an almost cruel persistence, as if the sky itself wanted to test how far a child's courage could go before breaking. The girl in the blue bonnet, her red coat and pants completely soaked by the flakes that clung to and melted into the wool, walked with short steps while trying to warm the baby wrapped in the yellow blanket, who no longer cried loudly, only whimpered, like a bird too tired to ask for help. The silence of the illuminated and decorated houses seemed to mock their loneliness, as if the glow of the lights were a luxury reserved only for those who had a home, a bountiful table, a tree full of gifts, and an important surname. With each gust of wind, the girl pressed the baby against her chest and repeated softly, almost like a prayer, "Just hold on a little longer, okay? I'll make it. I promise I'll make it." Her fingers were purple, her lips cracked, and the weight of the responsibility she carried seemed far greater than a child her age should bear. But there was something in her eyes, a mixture of fear and determination that kept her going. When she finally reached the snow-covered wooden bench, her legs gave way and she sat down carefully, adjusting the baby in her lap to protect her little face from the cold that cut like invisible blades. It was there, on that forgotten park bench, that she felt the first sign of defeat throb in her chest, because she realized that her sister's small body was getting lighter, quieter, and her breathing seemed like a fragile sigh about to disappear. The girl tried to rub her hands on the baby's face, but her palms were almost as cold as the child's icy skin. "Please don't sleep. Look at me. Don't sleep," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion, fighting the panic that threatened to tear her apart. She looked around, hoping to see someone, anyone, but the streets were empty, and the few cars that passed did so too quickly, as if no one had a second to notice two tiny lives fighting against the winter. Then she saw, in the distance, the silhouette of a man walking with firm steps, his dark blue coat contrasting with the white glint of the snow. He seemed to be one of those important men who always look ahead, to the next deal, to the next number full of zeros, never down, never to the side, never to where the world truly hurts. And yet, for some reason she couldn't explain, her heart raced in a strange way. Perhaps hope, perhaps fear of being ignored again. The billionaire walked as if he wanted to reach his destination quickly, talking on the phone with a hard, focused expression. The kind of expression that said nothing in that world could interfere with his plans. He was irritated by some problem at the company, some contract that needed to be resolved before the end of the year, and his mind had no room for anything else at that moment. Until, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a small movement on the park bench, a vibrant red dot in the middle of the snow. He tried to ignore it, but something about that image drew his attention like a magnet. When he completely looked away, he saw the girl holding the baby with desperate care, and for a moment his step hesitated, but he kept walking because he thought it was just another child playing in the snow. However, when he got closer, he heard a sound so faint, so broken, that it made his whole body stop. It was the muffled cry of the baby, a sound so delicate that it seemed to silently plead for help. He hung up the phone without even finishing the sentence and approached slowly, as if that moment demanded care, as if any sudden movement could break something that was already too fragile. "Hey, are you all right?" he asked, but the phrase came out softer than he expected. The girl quickly lifted her face, and it was at that moment that his life changed, because her gaze didn't beg for charity or pity. It pleaded for help with the dignity of someone who fights to the end. "Sir, my little sister is freezing. Please, she can't breathe properly," she said, her voice trembling but firm. The billionaire felt something tighten in his chest, a distant memory he had tried to push away, but which returned with force. He remembered another winter night, many years ago, when he too was just a child shivering with cold, holding something he loved and begging to be noticed. He knelt in the snow without a second thought, soiling his impeccable blue suit, and gently touched the yellow blanket. The baby was too cold. Too cold. Real danger. Pure panic surged through his veins. "How long have you been here?" he asked, trying to keep his voice calm while his fingers scanned the child's shallow breathing. The girl swallowed hard. Since we left home. Mommy. But she couldn't finish. The billionaire didn't insist. His instinct, which for years had been trained to focus only on numbers, now screamed something else. Protect, help, act, without hesitation. He immediately took off his thick blue coat and wrapped it around them both, covering the girl and the baby with a gesture as urgent as it was necessary. The girl closed her eyes when she felt the warmth, as if that touch were the first spark of hope after hours of despair. "You're coming with me now," he said, in a tone that didn't allow for argument, but which at the same time carried a kind of care the girl hadn't known for a long time. He picked up the baby with surprising skill, as if he had done it before, and offered his hand to help the girl up. When her cold fingers touched his, something inside him shifted. A dormant piece of his own past awakened, bringing back memories he had never dared to face. As they walked down the illuminated street, the wind continued to blow. But now there was enough warmth for hope to begin, albeit timidly, to be reborn. And it was there, in that short walk between the square and the billionaire's car, that the girl realized perhaps this man was the unexpected miracle her heart had silently begged for all night. When the billionaire opened the car door and the warm air escaped onto the street, the girl felt her legs weaken, as if, for the first time that Christmas night, her body was allowed to relax, even if only for a moment. The baby, now wrapped in the man's blue coat and yellow blanket, let out a weak cry, but it was enough for the girl to breathe a minimal, almost imperceptible sigh of relief. She slowly got into the car, her eyes wide at the luxurious interior that seemed more like a gleaming spaceship compared to the life she led. The billionaire adjusted the heater, carefully placed the baby in her lap, and sat behind the wheel with the tense expression of someone battling old, painful thoughts. When he started the engine, the car moved smoothly through the snow, while the girl watched the city lights twinkling like stars, clinging to lampposts and facades. But nothing seemed truly beautiful. Everything was shrouded in the weight of the fear that still gripped her chest. The billionaire glanced quickly in the rearview mirror and saw her fingers trembling as they stroked the baby's cold forehead. "What's her name?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. It's Sophia," the little girl said. "And yours?" he insisted. "Marina," the billionaire repeated softly. Marina and Sophia. And something about that name seemed to carry an extra weight, as if it were awakening memories buried in layers so deep he could barely reach them. The car sped along wider streets as he pressed his lips together, immersed in memories he had always avoided. He remembered with bitter clarity the cold that punished his skin as a child, the constant fear of losing someone too small to fight alone. And now, seeing those two little girls there, vulnerable and almost invisible to the rest of the world, was poking at wounds that had never fully healed. When they arrived at the mansion, shock gripped Marina's face. The golden lights decorating the entrance looked like something out of a Christmas movie, and for the first time since leaving home, she felt a pang of disbelief, as if she had stepped through a portal to a world she never believed truly existed. The billionaire quickly got out, opened the back door and helped her out. "Hold her tight. We're going to warm her up right now," he said, guiding them with quick steps inside. As soon as they crossed the front door, warmth enveloped Marina like an invisible embrace. The billionaire took off her coat, placed a larger blanket over the girl's shoulders, and rushed to adjust the fireplace temperature while talking to someone on the phone. His voice, once cold and calculated, now trembled with urgency, ordering the family doctor to come immediately. Marina sat on the fluffy rug in front of the fireplace, holding Sophia as she felt the warmth begin to restore color to the baby's cheeks. The little girl took a deep breath, but silent tears streamed down her flushed face. She tried to hide them, but the billionaire knelt beside her, gently held her shoulder, and said, "You did everything right. You saved your sister this far. Now let me help you both." It was there, in that instant, that Marina felt something break, not from pain, but because it was the first time in a long time that an adult had spoken to her with respect, with recognition, with humanity. While the doctor examined Sophia, Marina watched the billionaire pacing back and forth with a devastated expression. He ran his hand through his hair, took a deep breath, paused for a few seconds staring into space, and then began the cycle again. Something inside him was being violently stirred, as if seeing those two children had ripped away a forgotten part of himself. When the doctor announced that Sophia would be fine, provided she was kept warm and hydrated, Marina broke down in a relieved cry that seemed to come from the depths of her soul. The billionaire approached, sat beside her, and allowed his impeccable posture to loosen slightly, leaning forward like someone who finally understands the purpose of being there. "Were you alone?" he asked, his voice low. Marina swallowed hard. "Mom, she left. She said she'd be back, but it's been 2 days. We tried to wait. Then I tried to get help, but nobody looked. Nobody stopped." The billionaire felt his stomach churn. His past came crashing back, memories of abandonment, of closed doors, of hands that never reached out. He took a deep breath, feeling a mixture of anger and compassion, not for Marina, but for the younger version of himself who had once gone through something similar. And in that second, a certainty grew inside him as fast as a wildfire. He would never let those girls go back out into the cold. Marina, still embracing Sophia, asked hesitantly, We're going to have to leave later." The question hit the billionaire like a punch, but also like a call. He looked into her eyes, those tired and resilient eyes, and answered with the firmness of someone who has finally found a purpose greater than any fortune. "No, you're not going anywhere. Today in this house, you are safe. And tomorrow too, and the day after." Marina blinked, surprised, as if unsure if she could believe it. "But sir, we don't have anyone." He shook his head slowly. "Now you do." The hours passed, and with the house silent, Marina fell asleep on the sofa with Sophia in her arms, finally warm, finally at peace. The billionaire stood beside them, watching them sleep as one observes a miracle he didn't know he needed to witness. The fireplace crackled, illuminating his face with golden reflections while he made the most important decision of his life without needing a single meeting, signature, or contract. That Christmas night, which for many would be just another social event, was transforming for him into something much bigger. The chance to repair a cycle that had hurt him for years, and that, if it were up to him, would end there. When Marina opened her eyes in the morning, she found the billionaire sitting on the floor, leaning against the sofa, as if he had spent the entire night watching over their sleep. He smiled in a way she had never seen before, a sincere, gentle, transformed smile. "Good morning, Marina," he said. "From today on, you will never face the cold alone again." Marina hugged Sophia tightly to her chest, her eyes filling with tears not of fear, but of something new, hope. And on that silent morning, with the snow still falling outside, a new family began to be born, not because of blood ties, not because of obligation, but because a closed heart had finally found what it needed to open. And so, on that Christmas night that began with despair, the miracle came in the form of a billionaire kneeling in the snow, willing to rewrite the destiny of two lives, and his own. And if this story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone you love. Click now to share it. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming stories we're preparing with great care for you.